Hey, what's up guys? Today I'll be doing a review on the Last War boxing gloves. So stay tuned. All right guys, so today I'm doing a close-up weigh-in and review on the Last War boxing gloves. Last War is a company that is based out of China. Much like the TFM gloves, as well as some of the other Chinese-made gloves, you're starting to see more of these Chinese brands that are coming out and starting to kind of get into the Western market. So instead of these manufacturers making gloves for other companies, you're starting to see them make their own branding of equipment. Now, I've been told that the manufacturer for these gloves may also be the same manufacturer for the Fly X line of boxing gloves, because the material they use on here is very similar, if not the same, as the Fly X line, where it uses the synthetic, high quality basically it's a replicant of leather, but it's really nice. So this Last War boxing glove is a multi-layer foam padding. You can see it has kind of a almost like a powder blue with gold colorway. It says Last War on the back of the glove in gold. Then you have the 4-inch Velcro strap with the gold piping, 16 ounces. The wrist support is pretty much non-existent in this glove, which is a big flaw in my opinion, which I'll get into here in a second to show you guys. But you have maybe a 1/4 to 1/2 inch of soft density padding on the back of the wrist. On the inside of the wrist, you have maybe an 1/8 inch, but you can see that the wrist support on here is really soft and pretty floppy. So I think that there can be much improvement there in terms of the wrist support on these gloves. But you can see the grain of the synthetic they use here looks really similar to the Fly synthetic that they use. Really nice, high quality. You can see the stitching looks pretty good. You have a medium grip bar that's a little bit on the soft side as well. I wish that grip bar went all the way through. So definitely some areas that can be improved. You can see a little bit of the stitching pulling out from where the thumb meets the index finger. You do have an attached thumb. And to show you guys the density of the foam padding on here, I'd say it's more on the medium to soft side with a pretty flat punch surface right there. And the glove itself has almost kind of like a Mexican style cut to it. It looks very unique, where it's kind of comes up and it's flat. It doesn't really have like a rolled or rounded off look to it. It has more kind of like a tapered wedge look, if that makes any sense. So I'll show you guys a right glove as well. You know, not bad overall. I think probably the thing that impresses me the most is the synthetic quality they use is really nice. And there's the gold piping. Inside liner on this is a really nice, smooth, silky type liner. Very similar to what they use in Fly as well. When you slide your hand in here, there's a really nice, comfortable feel to it. So there you have it. Let's go ahead and put these on the scale. See how much these weigh. And the right glove is right at 15.3. So about 1/2 ounce underweight. And the left glove is at 15.1. So 15.1. So they're pretty much on weight with each other, and a hair over 1/2 ounce underweight. So let's go ahead and do the review. Hey, what's up guys? Carlo here, and today I'm doing a review on the Last War boxing gloves. I got mine in the blue and gold colorway, 16 ounces Velcro closure, and like many of the other Chinese brands like TFM and Wulong and Last Stand, Last War is kind of relatively unknown here in the United States, out here in the West, which is why I've been taking kind of an interest in trying out their gloves and their equipment and giving my take on it, just because I feel like it's somewhat of an untapped market. I mean, we know of all the brands that are real popular out here: Rival, Everlast, Winning, obviously Reyes, all the other brands. But I feel like, you know, Chinese boxing gloves are more or less known as far as their manufacturing for other brands. So you'll see certain brands like Rival, or even like Title Boxing, maybe even Ringside, that have certain models of their equipment that are manufactured in China, under their own branding, but you rarely see any Chinese brands themselves come out and show their equipment. So unless you live out there in China or out in Asia, where this is a lot more easily accessible and are probably marketed more in that community, you don't really see it out here. So again, I was really interested just to see how these perform and they stack up. Now, with that being said, these gloves are a little hard to find. If you do like a Google search for Last War, your best bet is through like a website that's in the Philippines, as well as like Alibaba or AliExpress is probably your best bet. I was fortunate enough to have a friend of mine that was able to get these sourced in China and have these sent out to me. So I was very fortunate for that. I will put the links in the description box and places that you could possibly find the Last War brand. But as this video is coming out, at this time when this video is coming out, there's not really many resources here in the States to get the Last War gloves. And hopefully this will bring more awareness to brands like Last War, Last Stand, Wulong, and hopefully get them to really market it out here more, because there's definitely some equipment that I've gotten from them, which I will be doing reviews on here pretty soon, that I think are really great equipment and are just not marketed out here and not many people know about it. So with that being said, again, I got mine in 16 ounces. It's a pretty good looking glove. There's not much to it other than the Last War logo on the back of the glove. I do like the font that they use. It has kind of a, almost like a, I want to say like a script type lettering to it, but very aggressive looking, which looks really clean. Nothing too crazy as far as the design goes. I'd say the gloves are a medium profile. They're not overly big or overly small. The shape of it has kind of it reminds me of like a Reyes glove, where it has kind of a tapered shape to it and very squared off, if that makes any sense. So it kind of looks like that in terms of the shape of the glove. It does use the synthetic microfiber, or the synthetic leather. And like I said earlier, I've been told that the factory that makes these gloves for Last War is possibly the same factory that makes the Fly X-Line gloves that uses synthetic. And you can see just how close, if not the same, that this material is to the Fly X synthetic leather. And probably some of the best synthetic leather I've seen outside of like Onyx with their synthetics, as well as Rival with their microfiber. It's not like the cheap synthetic Everlast gloves that feel really thin and they end up ripping. I mean, this synthetic is made to last a very long time, just like real leather is. So you can see it has a really nice semi-gloss kind of finish to it. It says Last War there. You have a 4-inch Velcro strap with the same material and the gold piping. You have the Velcro right there. The inside liner is nice and silky. The 16-ounce weight tag, as well as the gold piping. About 1/8 of an inch of padding on the inside of the wrist. I'd say about 1/4 inch to maybe 1/2 inch of padding on the back of the wrist. One thing I'm not a fan of with this glove is the lack of wrist support. And you can actually see that this strap, this Velcro strap, it feels kind of flimsy and almost kind of has kind of like a crinkly feel to it. I feel like they should have put a little bit more padding in this Velcro strap so it doesn't get all wrinkly and crinkled up. Also, you can see the inside liner is beautiful, nice and silky and smooth, but there's really relatively no wrist support on the inside, which I would have loved to see a little bit more padding on the inside of the wrist. Gold piping right there. And again, you have a medium-sized grip bar, which was a little bit bigger and firmer, and you can see it kind of ends a little prematurely right there. Nice parallel thumb, and there's the gold on the thumb right there. The gold has more of a kind of a pearl sheen to it, so it's not like a metallic gold. And then you have an attached thumb. And the padding on here, I would say, is a little bit more on the medium to soft side as far as the density of the foam. Quality-wise, the glove material itself, I really like. For a synthetic, it's probably some of the best out there in terms of just the quality, how durable and thick the synthetic feels. I would say the opportunity with these gloves is going to be the lack of the wrist support and the stitching. So you can see some of the stitching kind of pulling out on the edges right there. I showed you some of the thread that's kind of pulling out where the thumb meets the index finger. Another thing I'm not really a big fan of is the shape of the foam, the layered foam they use on here. So you can see that this punch surface, yes, when you pull your thumb, when you make a fist with this, it does flatten out. But I wish it had a little bit more of a pre-curved shape to it rather than kind of your fingers doing one of these when your hand is in position. Yes, when you pull your hand in, you can make a fist, but I feel like this should have been a little bit better pre-curved and pulled in rather than having this kind of weird extended shape and your fingers are a little bit more exposed than they should be. So, but that's pretty much it in terms of the quality. I would say the stitching, the lack of the wrist support, as well as that Velcro strap being kind of flimsy is a big opportunity. But the material they use here, I really like. Probably some of the best in terms of a synthetic leather. Comfort of the gloves, putting these on. I love the liner, probably one of the best liners I've felt in terms of, you know, comfort. Feels really nice and smooth, feels really comfortable. Thumb feels like it's in a perfect spot. I don't feel like it jams at all. You can see actually when I make a fist with this, it doesn't pinch down on the thumb. Like some gloves will actually fold the thumb down. The piping on the fat part of my thumb doesn't pinch down either. It has a really nice broken in feel with the multi-layer foam. I wish the grip bar was bigger and more pronounced so that I can actually feel the grip bar when I make a fist. The hand compartment is definitely a little bit on the larger side. So even with hand wraps on, if I were to do it all over again, I maybe would have gotten a 14-ounce glove. But if you do have bigger hands, longer fingers, these will definitely accommodate you pretty well. Pretty deep finger compartment, but again, I feel that just the shape of the foam is kind of a weird shape. It's hard to explain. It's almost like when I make a fist with these gloves, it feels almost like the foam is pulling on itself to come forward, if that makes any sense, which kind of feels a little awkward. So I wish that the curvature of the foam was done a little bit better so that you're landing on your two front knuckles much easier. So I feel like that's kind of an opportunity that the manufacturer for Last Stand can definitely fix. But outside of that, they feel very comfortable. Protection and performance, these are definitely more of a puncher style glove. You get excellent crack and feedback out of these gloves, not so much with protection, with shock absorption. If you're using a denser, heavier bag that's more solid feel, I mean, there's some heavy bags when you hit it at the gym and you know a lot of people avoid that bag because they're almost like rock solid and people injure their hands on it because they're using the wrong, they wrap their hands incorrectly or they're not using the right type of glove for that kind of bag. This is the type of the glove that you want to avoid those with. You want something that's a little bit softer. That way you don't end up injuring your hand, but it's definitely on the softer side. You can definitely feel your knuckles sink down and you get an excellent crack out of these, but shock absorption is not really the best quality of the type of layered foam that they use in here. One thing I forgot to mention as well is you see how it kind of has that straight across look to it, really flat, where some gloves kind of round out on the edges. So that right there, there's a little bit of a gap between my pinky finger and this area right here. It's almost like a void. So again, I just feel like the cut of the foam is off from like here on up. That could be done a lot better and have it a much more comfortable and a form-fitting feel where you don't have to put as much work in to make a fist with these gloves. Cost-wise, it's a little bit of a gray area with these gloves. Because these gloves, I didn't purchase these. These were given to me for free. So, but I think looking online and from what I've been told, these gloves generally start at around like $85 to $90. Again, the other big thing with that is the conversion rate when you're paying for these gloves because they're not being sold in US dollars, so you have to convert over. So I'm thinking anywhere between like $85 to $90 on up is kind of the going rate for the Last War boxing gloves. I believe that this is kind of a custom glove, so they also have their standard models, which again, I'll put everything in the description box on websites you can check out that sell the Last War brand. But probably about $85, $90 what you can expect for Last War gloves and then on up. And again, like I mentioned earlier, hopefully later down the road, there's a much more of a definitive model lineup and an actual website for us here in the States that can purchase the Last War brand. So hopefully that's down the pipeline. So if you guys have any questions or comments, make sure you guys leave them down below in the comments box. As usual, I'll put everything in the description box. I'll see you guys later. Take care.